I'd like to give you a better picture of what an addiction is. Some of us have the idea that an addict or an alcoholic or somebody who's addicted to anything, there's a certain stereotype that alcoholics only drink out of paper bags and live on the street, or addicts are stuck in their house and peek out of the curtains every now and then, or there's always some extreme example that we go to when we think about addiction. What I'd like to do is to challenge that idea of what you think an addiction is, because this affects more people than we know. Chances are that somebody you're sitting next to is struggling with a serious addiction and you may not even know about it. It's true that addiction includes drugs and alcohol or chemicals, but I'd like to push it a step further and say that it includes sex, pornography, love, relationships, voyeurism, food, gambling, work, stealing, lying, nicotine, overachieving, people-pleasing, religion, shopping, self-mutilation, abuse, power and control, television, overspending, toxic relationships, video games, chaos, tanning, self-image, exercise, codependency, sugar, fantasies, feelings, hoarding. I mean, I can go on. There's a hope for that person right now who's suffering from an addiction and you know it, but you're afraid to say it because you're afraid of what other people will think. You're afraid of the stereotype that comes along with it. You're afraid of the shame. You may be afraid of the guilt or the consequences for whatever your addiction is. There is hope, and there is a solution. There's a way out. There's a way out that other people have found. And what I'd like to share with you is that no matter what your perceptions are of an addict, no matter what your perceptions are of what recovery is, I do want you to know that there's a community that cares, that's been through what you've been through. There's a process that we go through that is recovery. And once we've identified the problem, the issue, the addiction, then we begin to see how our lives are truly out of control and how this thinking is insane. I mean, there's no other word for it. And how much we need and must rely on and turn everything that we have over to God. Even the things that we find objectionable, we still need to be ready to turn them over to Him. There is self-examination. There is confessing of our sins to one another. As scary as that may seem, you don't have to, but you have to be willing. And once you've identified the problem and you've done that self-examination, and take these things to God and pray over them and ask for His help, then you can begin to live a life differently. Once you've experienced turning over that addictive behavior to God, and you find His grace and you find His mercy and you find His love, you find those things about Him that are so absolutely amazing that you can actually face life. A wounded bird can't fly very well, if at all. It's not graceful. It's not living up to its full purpose. It can't do the things that it needs to do to survive. God can heal us. And it may not be the way that you think. Sometimes a simple prayer is all you need. Sometimes you need to get into action. But I'm telling you, the process of recovery, God can heal us. And we can discover this new flight to recovery. We can fly and be exactly what God intended us to be.